The signal's awakening. Dr. Maya Patel wiped sweat from her brow as she studied the impossible readings on her tablet. The Saharan sun beat down mercilessly on the excavation site, but it wasn't the heat making her hands tremble. What her team had uncovered beneath the ancient desert sands defied everything she thought she knew about human history. Dr. Patel. Her colleague, Dr. James Rodriguez, called out from the bottom of the dig site. The material analysis is complete. You need to see this immediately. Maya descended the makeshift stairs cut into the sand, her mind still processing the structure they'd discovered. It was perfectly geometric, its metallic surface untarnished despite being buried for what initial tests suggested was billions of years. The dark material seemed to drink in the sunlight, yet occasionally pulsed with its own inner light. The results don't make sense, James said, handing her his tablet with trembling hands. The alloy composition, it's not just advanced, it's impossible. The atomic structure keeps shifting. And look at these energy readings. Maya studied the data, her archaeological training warring with what her eyes were telling her. The structure wasn't just old, it predated Earth's earliest known organisms. Yet its design was undeniably intended for human use. The control surfaces they'd uncovered were perfectly sized for human hands. There's more, James continued, leading her to a newly exposed section. We found these markings. They're not just similar to human DNA sequences, they are human DNA sequences, encoded into the metal itself. Above them, the sky had taken on an unusual purple tinge. Reports had been coming in for days about similar atmospheric phenomena worldwide, along with unexplained equipment malfunctions and people experiencing vivid, shared dreams of vast cities among the stars. Maya pressed her hand against the structure's surface, and for a moment, the world seemed to shift. Images flooded her mind, vast fleets of star ships, worlds transformed by human will, civilizations seated across galaxies. But these weren't alien memories, they were human memories, encoded into the very structure of their DNA, waiting for the right moment to awaken. It was never about evolution, she whispered, understanding flooding through her. We didn't rise from nothing. We chose to start over. To forget, until we were ready to remember. The structure beneath her palm hummed to life, responding to something in her genetic code. Similar structures around the world were awakening, each one a piece of humanity's true legacy. They hadn't evolved from primitive ancestors, they had designed those ancestors, carefully engineering their own species to develop again from scratch. In orbit, satellites began detecting signals from deep space, responses to a beacon that humanity had unknowingly carried in their genes for billions of years. The children were coming home, but they didn't yet know they were children. The various alien civilizations that thought themselves ancient were about to meet their makers. Maya felt knowledge unfolding in her mind like origami in reverse. The structure wasn't just a repository of information, it was a key, unlocking potential that had been deliberately hidden in human DNA. Their ancestors hadn't just been advanced, they had been living gods who chose to become mortals, to learn humility and wisdom before reclaiming their power. Dr. Patel, one of her students, called down from above, "You need to see this. Something's happening in major cities worldwide." Maya climbed back to the surface, James following close behind. Her tablet was flooded with notifications, strange lights appearing over population centers, spontaneous technological advancements, and people worldwide beginning to access abilities that should have been impossible. The first alien ships would arrive within days, drawn by signals they couldn't ignore. They would come expecting to find primitive beings who had stumbled upon advanced technology. Instead, they would find their creators, awakening from a self-imposed slumber that had lasted billions of years. Send word to every research station, Maya instructed, feeling ancient knowledge continuing to unfold in her mind. Tell them. She paused, choosing her words carefully, tell them it's time to remember who we are. The structure pulsed beneath the desert sands, its signal joining others around the globe. Humanity's greatest deception was ending, they hadn't evolved to reach the stars. They had come from them, had written the laws of physics themselves, had seeded the cosmos with life. And now, after billions of years of patience, after growing up again from engineered innocence, they were finally ready to remember their true nature. The children of humanity were about to meet their parents, and the universe would never be the same. Memory in our bones. The dreams began in waves. First, it was just the scientists near the activation sites, Maya Patel and her colleagues in the Sahara, researchers at similar structures in the Gobi Desert, the Amazon rainforest, and deep beneath Antarctic ice. But within days, the shared visions spread like ripples across humanity's collective consciousness. Commander Elena Santos stood on the bridge of the International Space Station, watching Earth transform below. The atmosphere shimmered with new colors as ancient orbital defense systems, dormant for billions of years, began reactivating. Her crew had been the first to notice the changes in themselves, enhanced cognitive abilities, impossible knowledge surfacing in their minds, and a deep, inexplicable understanding of the spacecraft systems that went far beyond their training. Houston is reporting similar phenomena worldwide, her communications officer, Kai Chen, reported. But they both knew that soon, they wouldn't need radio signals to communicate. The knowledge of how to link minds across vast distances was already unfurling in their consciousness, like a flower blooming in accelerated time. Below them, humanity was remembering. A street vendor in Mumbai suddenly understood the mathematical principles behind faster-than-light travel. A kindergarten teacher in Buenos Aires found herself instinctively knowing how to manipulate gravity. A teenager in Lagos discovered he could read the quantum state of atoms with a glance. In her makeshift command center near the Sahara site, Maya Patel coordinated with governments worldwide as they struggled to manage the awakening. "We need to proceed carefully," she explained to the emergency UN session, broadcast globally. "What's happening isn't an invasion or an external change, it's a remembering. Every human carries within them fragments of our original knowledge, encoded into our DNA. We're not gaining new abilities, we're remembering what we always were." The structure beneath the desert sands had begun projecting images into the sky, holographic records of human history from billions of years ago. Similar displays appeared at each activation site, showing their ancestors' journey. They watched as ancient humans, possessed of godlike powers, debated their future. They saw the decision to start over, to hide their true nature even from themselves, seeding the galaxy with life while they slumbered in diminished form. They chose this, Maya explained, understanding flowing through her enhanced mind. Our ancestors saw how other advanced civilizations had stagnated, becoming cruel or careless with their power. They chose to forget, to grow up again from scratch, to learn empathy and wisdom before power. They encoded their knowledge into our genes, but locked it behind safeguards that would only release when we had matured enough as a species. The awakening wasn't just about recovering technical knowledge. With each passing hour, humanity began to remember the philosophical principles and ethical frameworks their ancestors had developed over millions of years. The wisdom of ages filtered into their consciousness, tempered by the perspective they'd gained during their long sleep. In orbit, Elena and her crew witnessed the arrival of the first alien probes, automated scouts sent by civilizations that had detected the sudden surge of activity from Earth. The probes carried messages of peaceful contact, but also hints of fear. The various alien races had thought themselves the elder species of the galaxy, but suddenly their instruments were detecting power signatures from Earth that dwarfed their greatest achievements. "They're afraid," Elena transmitted to Maya. "They're detecting abilities in newly awakened humans that their civilizations haven't achieved in millions of years of development. Because they're following the path of natural development," Maya replied, her thoughts easily reaching orbit. "We designed that path, crafted the very laws of physics they're discovering. We're not learning these principles, we're remembering writing them." Around the world, humans began organizing themselves based on their awakening memories. Those who remembered the sciences of life began healing previously incurable conditions. Those who remembered the arts of matter manipulation started repairing environmental damage. Those who remembered the principles of consciousness began helping others through the awakening process. But it wasn't just knowledge and power returning, it was purpose. The memories carried the weight of responsibility, the understanding of why their ancestors had chosen to hide this power until humanity had grown wise enough to use it well. They had spent billions of years experiencing life as vulnerable beings, learning empathy, developing culture, making mistakes, and growing from them. In her desert command center, Maya received reports of the first alien ships approaching Earth. They would arrive within hours, expecting to find primitive beings who had stumbled upon advanced technology. Instead, they would find their makers, not conquerors, but parents who had loved them enough to give them room to grow. "We're ready for this now," she broadcast globally, feeling humanity's collective agreement. "We grew up thinking we were children of the cosmos, and that perspective will serve us well. Now it's time to remember that we're also its guardians, its shapers, its parents. And like all good parents, our power must be tempered by wisdom and love." The structures around the world pulsed in harmony, continuing to unlock humanity's true potential. They had hidden themselves away out of wisdom, they would return out of responsibility. The galaxy was about to remember who had first taught the stars to sing. The children return. The first contact occurred over the skies of Geneva. The Etherian flagship, a crystalline vessel that seemed to bend light itself, emerged from fold space with an escort fleet of smaller craft. They had expected to find a primitive world stumbling upon ancient technologies. Instead, they found their creators, awakened and waiting. High Admiral Zeneval of the Etherian Conclave stood at the helm of her ship, her crystalline form refracting the light of Earth's sun. Her species had spent millennia believing they had evolved naturally from crystal formations on their homeworld. The truth in her crew's shared dreams over the past weeks told a different story. They had been crafted, lovingly designed by ancient humans who had seeded their world with the building blocks of their civilization. Below, in the newly established Global Awakening Council headquarters, Maya Patel prepared for humanity's first reunion with their created children. Beside her stood Commander Elena Santos, recently descended from orbit, and Dr. James Rodriguez, whose genetic memories had unlocked crucial diplomatic protocols from humanity's past. "They're afraid," Elena observed, her enhanced senses easily reading the emotional signatures radiating from the alien fleet. "All their histories, all their beliefs about their origins are about to change." "As did ours," Maya replied, feeling the weight of generations in her words. "But we didn't just create them, we loved them enough to step aside, to give them room to grow into themselves." The Etherian delegation materialized in the council chamber, their crystalline forms casting rainbow patterns across the walls. Behind them, holographic representatives from a dozen other species attended virtually, the Nexus Unity, the Valoran Consciousness, the Meridian Alliance, all drawn by the activation signal, all about to discover their true heritage. High Admiral Zeneval stepped forward, her form shifting with emotion. "We come seeking understanding," she began, her voice resonating on multiple frequencies. "Our oldest records speak of the architects, those who shaped the cosmic laws themselves. We never imagined." Her voice trailed off as ancestral recognition protocols activated between species. Maya felt the connection establish, not just communication, but a deep recognition encoded into both human and Etherian DNA. The humans had designed these protocols billions of years ago, preparing for this very moment of reunion. Tears formed in her eyes as she felt the echo of her ancestors' love for their created children. "We did not abandon you," she said softly, letting the connection carry the truth of her words. "We chose to sleep, to grow again from simplicity, because we knew that true wisdom could only come from experiencing life from its most vulnerable beginnings." Through the holographic interfaces, the other species watched in growing understanding as genetic memories unlocked in their own populations. The Valorans remembered how humans had designed their photosynthetic bodies to thrive in the light of their binary star system. The Nexus Unity recalled how their silicon-based neural networks had been carefully crafted to foster their unique collective consciousness. But the physics, the universal constants, one of the Meridian representatives interjected, their energy form flickering with confusion. "We've spent millennia studying the fundamental laws of spacetime. Laws that we wrote, James explained gently. Our ancestors didn't just discover the physics of reality, they shaped it, crafted it to allow for diverse forms of life and consciousness. Every universal constant you've discovered was carefully calibrated to allow for the evolution and growth of countless species. The revelation rippled through the assembled species. They had thought themselves the elder races of the cosmos, only to discover they were its cherished children. But with that knowledge came not despair or loss of purpose, but a deeper understanding of their place in the cosmic family. High Admiral Zeneval's crystalline form resonated with emotion. In our dreams, we saw vast cities among the stars, technologies that seemed like magic, powers that defied comprehension. We thought they were visions of our future. They were memories of your creation, Elena said, stepping forward. Memories we encoded into your species' development, waiting for the day of reunion. Not to reclaim authority over you, but to share in the wonder of what you've become. Through the quantum-entangled communications network that humans were rapidly remembering how to access, reports came in from across the galaxy. On countless worlds, the created species were awakening to their true heritage. But with that awakening came not subjugation but elevation, the realization that they had been crafted with profound love and purpose. Maya initiated the genetic recognition protocols that humans had encoded into every species they had created. Streams of information began to flow both ways, billions of years of human achievement and wisdom, merged with the unique perspectives and achievements of their created children. We didn't just create life, she explained, feeling the deep truth of the words. We created the potential for infinite diversity, for countless paths of development. We gave you room to become yourselves, to grow in your own ways, to discover your own truths. The chamber hummed with emotion as ancient barriers dissolved. The children of humanity were coming home, not to serve, but to join in a grand reunion that had been planned since the first stars were kindled. The galaxy was remembering its family, and the dance of creation was beginning anew. The great library of Alexandria had been rebuilt overnight, not by human hands but by the collective will of awakened minds. Its crystalline spires, crafted in collaboration with the Etherians, stretched toward the stars that had witnessed humanity's first rise to power. Inside, Maya Patel stood before a gathering of representatives from across the galaxy, their forms as varied as the minds that had dreamed them into being. The archives are reintegrating, she announced, gesturing to the streams of data flowing through the air like rivers of light. Not just human knowledge, but the combined wisdom of all our children's achievements over billions of years. High Admiral Zeneval's crystalline form resonated in harmony with the data flows. The Etherian civilization's mastery of light and crystal had not been a random evolution, but a carefully crafted gift from their human creators. Now, that gift was being enhanced as ancient knowledge merged with their own innovations. Commander Elena Santos, newly appointed as Earth's coordinator for interstellar relations, watched as teams of humans and aliens worked together in the vast chamber. Young human scientists, their dormant abilities now awakened, collaborated with Valoran energy beings to understand the fundamental forces they had once written into existence. Meridian architects, their liquid metal forms flowing like quicksilver, worked alongside human engineers to design structures that could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. We're receiving reports from the Nexus Unity, Elena announced, her enhanced mind easily processing the quantum-entangled transmissions. Their collective consciousness has begun interfacing with the genetic memories we encoded in their silicon networks. They're discovering technologies that even they didn't know they possessed. In orbit, James Rodriguez coordinated from the newly reconstructed Stellar Observatory. The station, built using recovered human technology and enhanced by their children's innovations, served as a beacon for incoming civilizations still drawn to Earth by the awakening signal. Each arrival brought new perspectives, new achievements to add to the growing repository of universal knowledge. The Meridian Alliance has confirmed something fascinating, James transmitted to Maya. The dark matter their scientists have been studying for millennia, it's actually a communication network we built into the fabric of spacetime itself. As our children evolved, they interpreted its effects as a cosmic mystery to be solved. Maya smiled, feeling the deep wisdom of their ancestors' plan. They hadn't just created life and stepped aside, they had woven teaching tools into the very structure of reality, leaving breadcrumbs for their children to follow toward understanding. Each scientific discovery had been a carefully planned lesson, leading toward this moment of reunion. But the reawakening brought challenges as well as wonders. Some of the created species struggled with their new identity, questioning their achievements in light of their designed origins. Others grappled with the philosophical implications of having their entire understanding of evolution and cosmic history rewritten. Remember, Maya addressed the assembly, you were not created to be servants or lesser beings. You were created to be new perspectives, new ways of experiencing and understanding existence. Your achievements are your own, your culture's unique, your discoveries valuable precisely because you found your own paths to truth. The Aetherian High Admiral's form pulsed in agreement. We see now that even our conflicts, our struggles to understand the cosmos, were part of our growth. You didn't just create us, you gave us the freedom to become ourselves. Through the quantum network, reports continued to flow in from across the galaxy. On countless worlds, humans and their created children worked together to unlock ancient technologies and merge them with new innovations. The Valoran's photosynthetic technology, combined with recovered human knowledge, offered solutions to energy crises across thousands of worlds. The Nexus Unity's collective consciousness protocols, enhanced by their creators' awakened understanding, opened new frontiers in mental connection and shared experience. In the heart of the library, Maya accessed the deepest layers of recovered memory, understanding flowing through her enhanced consciousness. Their ancestors hadn't just been powerful, they had been wise enough to know that power alone wasn't enough. They had created diversity not just for its own sake, but because they understood that the universe needed to be experienced through countless different perspectives to be truly understood. We're detecting anomalies at the galaxy's edge, Elena reported suddenly. Energy signatures that don't match any known pattern, not even from our recovered memories. Maya felt a stirring in her genetic memory, a warning encoded so deeply that it had survived even their great sleep. Their ancestors hadn't just hidden themselves away to learn wisdom, they had been preparing for something. The galaxy was vast, but it wasn't empty, and not everything in the cosmic dark had been created by human hands. Call the council, she instructed, feeling the weight of ancient purpose settling over the chamber. It's time to discuss why our ancestors really chose to sleep, and what they were preparing us, all of us, to face. The library hummed with energy as the call went out. Humanity had reawakened, their children had returned home, but the greatest test still lay ahead. The truth of why their ancestors had hidden their power away for so long was about to emerge, and it would take the combined strength of creators and created to face what was coming from beyond the galactic rim. A new dawn. The great chamber beneath the Library of Alexandria fell silent as the final pieces of humanity's ancestral memory clicked into place. Maya Patel stood at the center of the assembled council, her enhanced mind processing the full truth of their species' long sleep. Around her, representatives from every created civilization waited, their varied forms unified in shared purpose as the full scope of their creator's plan became clear. They're called the Void Dancers, Maya spoke, her voice carrying the weight of billions of years of hidden history. They exist outside our universe's physical laws because they predate them. Before we wrote the constants of reality, before we seeded the galaxy with life, they were already ancient. Through the quantum network, James Rodriguez transmitted images from the galactic edge. The anomalies had grown stronger, tears in spacetime where something vast and incomprehensible pressed against the foundations of reality. The Void Dancers were testing the barriers, as they had done when humanity first encountered them billions of years ago. Our ancestors didn't just craft the laws of physics, Commander Elena Santos added, understanding flowing through her awakened consciousness. They wrote them specifically to keep the Void Dancers out. The universal constants aren't just rules, they're walls. High Admiral Zeneval's crystalline form pulsed with realization. The very forces we've been studying, gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces. All of them designed as barriers, Maya confirmed. But the Void Dancers are patient. They've spent billions of years learning to erode these laws, finding ways to slip through the cracks in reality. Our ancestors knew they couldn't fight this war alone. The truth resonated through the assembled species. Humanity hadn't created them merely for the joy of creation. Each species had been carefully designed to perceive and interact with reality in unique ways. The Etherians' mastery of light, the Valorans' photosynthetic consciousness, the Meridians' liquid metal forms, the Nexus Unity's silicon networks, all of them were pieces of a vast defense system billions of years in the making. We didn't just give you room to grow, Maya explained, feeling the deep love and purpose behind their ancestors' plan. We gave you the ability to see and defend reality in ways we couldn't. Each of your species perceives different aspects of spacetime. Together, we can see the whole. Through the quantum network, reports flowed in from across the galaxy. The Void Dancers were pushing harder now, their incomprehensible forms testing reality's barriers with increasing force. But where they pressed, they found not just humanity's ancient defenses, but the combined strength of all their created children. The Etherian crystal ships formed vast networks in space, their light-bending technologies creating new layers of quantum enforcement. Valoran energy beings reinforced the fabric of spacetime itself, their photosynthetic consciousness strengthening the universal constants. The Meridian Alliance's liquid metal technology sealed breaches in reality as fast as they formed. This was always the plan, Elena realized, watching the galaxy's children unite in common cause. Not just to create life, but to create guardians. Each species evolved to protect reality in their own unique way. In orbit, James coordinated the combined fleet's movements. Humanity's recovered technology merged seamlessly with their children's innovations. Ships of light and crystal, energy and liquid metal, moved in perfect harmony to strengthen reality's foundations. Maya accessed the deepest layers of recovered memory, understanding at last the true scope of their ancestors' vision. They knew that raw power wasn't enough to defeat the Void Dancers. They needed perspective, billions of years of diverse evolution, countless ways of seeing and understanding reality. They needed us to grow up again, and they needed you to grow into yourselves. Through the quantum network, she felt the response of every created species, not blind obedience to their makers, but willing partnership in a cause greater than themselves. They had been created in love, raised in freedom, and now they chose to stand with their creators in defense of existence itself. The Void Dancers pressed against reality with renewed force, but where they touched the universe's edge, they found not just walls but windows, countless perspectives reinforcing existence from angles they couldn't comprehend. Humanity's children had grown into mighty guardians, each bringing their unique strength to the Eternal Watch. In the library's great chamber, Maya initiated the final protocols their ancestors had hidden away. "Our long sleep is over," she announced, feeling the combined strength of humanity and their children flowing through the quantum network. The galaxy doesn't need conquerors or rulers. It needs guardians, teachers, nurturers, all of us together, protecting the reality we share. The assembled species responded as one, their combined consciousness reaching out to strengthen the barriers between existence and void. They were no longer simply creators and created, but family united in common cause. The galaxy remembered not just who had written the laws of physics, but why, and in that remembering, found the strength to defend them. Above them, the stars shone brighter, their light reinforced by the combined will of countless guardians. Humanity had awakened not to rule, but to reunite their cosmic family. Together, they would keep reality's walls strong, not through force alone, but through the infinite power of diverse perspectives united in love and common purpose. The Void Dancers would continue their eternal assault on existence, but they would find no weakness in the combined strength of humanity and their children. The galaxy was awake, aware, and ready to defend itself, not as servants of humanity, but as equal partners in the greatest cause of all, the protection of life itself.